Okay, guys, here we are just developing a model for Titanic dataset, right? So Titanic dataset contains these are the features: survival, class, passenger class, name, sex, age, number of siblings and spouse, number of parents, like that. These all are the total 13, or I think 13 features are there. Okay, so let us start. First of all, we need to import the required library. So we require NumPy, Matplotlib, Pandas, Scikit-learn, TensorFlow for ANN, right? So just run these else. Okay, it's executed. Okay, very good. Now, second step, we have to load the data, right, in the memory. So for that, we have this command pd.read csv and the path of your data set. I have data set named is data1.csv and which is stored in desktop bus folder. So I have put a complete path of that particular data set, right? And I have stored this data set in original data, right? And I had make a copy of that data in name data, right? In the panda frame data, named data. Always remember, whenever you are going to work on any data, you just make a copy of it first, then work on the copy of that data, not original data, right? Because there may, if you may fail to work on that particular data, then you have choice to reload your original data, right? So always remember as a computer science engineer. Okay, so run those cell. Let us load. Yes, it is loaded, and by using data.info, I got the information of our data set. So in this uh, output, you can check we have total 101309 instances, or we may say number of rows, and which ranges from 0 to 1308, right? And total 14 columns we have in the data set, which means we have 14 features, right? Feature name are P class, survived, name, sex, age, sibling, parts, ticket, fare, cabin, embarked, boat, body, and home destination, right? So these are our feature set. Means we have these many features, and out of which one is our target feature and rest will work as our input feature, right? So let's move ahead. Let us check. Let us check some entries of the data, right? For that, I have head function, right? You can use head function without any argument. It will give top five elements to top five rows of your data set. You can check. Yes, it is giving total five top rows or instances of your data set, right? And if you put 10 here, it will give top 10 values. See, right? In the same way, you can use tail function, right? By using which you can get your bottom instances of your data set, right? Okay. So here you can observe some of the features having question mark here, right? So if you would check, info is showing that there are 1309 non-null values of P class, 1309 of survived class. In the same way, all columns are having 1309 non-null values out of total 1309. That means it is signifying that there is no null value. But when we are looking at the data, we may find there are some question marks in the data set, right? It means there those values are not available, or those observations are missing. So for us, those are missing values. So we need to convert this question mark as missing value. And in NumPy, missing value will be represented as nan values. So we have to convert it into nan values. Okay. For that, we have data dot replace question mark np nan in place means we are going to replace it as it is, right, in the exact place. Okay, so we run it. Let's run it. Okay, now you can check. Now info is giving that cabin class is having only 295 non-null values. What it mean to say? Out of 1309, only 295 values are non-null. Rest are null values. That means we had to handle these missing values. Okay, for that we have two functions, drop NA and fill NA, or we can say complete case analysis, where we are going to drop row that are containing null values or column that are containing null values. So for that we have drop NA function, right? And in the argument, access defines what you have to delete, right? What you want to delete. If you put x is equals to 0, that means you are going to delete rows which are having missing values. And if you want to delete columns, you have to put 1 here, right? So 1 will show that you have to delete columns that are having missing value, right? But this is not a good choice to drop any row or column, right? Because maybe the chance you are getting very less amount of data after deletion, right? So it is not good practice. So for a large data set, it is feasible, but for a small data set, it is not prerequisite or required, right? So for another another solution we can have, we can change those missing values as as any arbitrary value, right? So if you want to check, you may check that data is having like this. Now you see in the question mark place you are having nan values. That means that's showing this is missing value, right? Okay. Okay. So arbitrary imputation, what it tells, just simply replace the value what you want to replace, right? Simply see here you are you are filling non missing values with female, right? You can do so, right? But it's also not a good choice. You have to do some statistics before replacing any value, right? So third or best solution we have frequently category imputation, right, which is called mode imputation, right, where we are going to replace missing values with mode of that particular feature, right? So let us check the count of every different type of classes we have in that particular feature. So in the sex feature, we have two categories, female and male. Female have 464 instances, male has 840 instances. Okay. Now, first we need to find mode of this. So what mode is returning? It is returning male. That means maximum count we are having of male class. So we may replace nan values with male. So let's do that. Okay. Okay, done. We have replaced missing values with male, right? So you can now check this. Every missing value has been replaced with male. Now see the difference. 5 values has been converted to the male, because before it was 840, male count was 840, now it is 845. Okay, so this is all about handling missing value. Now you have handled missing values. Okay, so next we are talking about plotting. Let's plot some data using different plottings. See, in this plot, important one is box plot and violin plot. Actually, both are same, but the little difference is, see, in the box plot, this middle line is representing the median value of this feature, right? And upper line of the box, top surface of the box is representing the third quartile of data, and bottom surface is representing first quartile of data, means 25% of data are between 0 to 25, right? Okay, 0 to 20. So now here are some dots out of the line, right? These are representing outliers in the data. For example, if you are having age factor and you are having most of the ages between 0 to 100, and some of the ages are 200 or 250, that means those will be recognized as outliers. So mostly these two plots are used for finding outliers in the data set. Okay. In the same way, you may check there is a white dot in the violin plot. This white dot is same as the middle line of box plot, right? So it is representing median value of your data set, right, or feature, right? Or there is a box, black box, and bottom corner of black box is showing first quartile of your data or feature, and top surface of this black box is representing third quartile of your data. And data values apart from these tails will be considered as outliers. So if these tails are very long, that means there may be the chance you are having some outlier in the data set, right? So this is all about understanding your violin plot and box plot and to find outliers in the data. Okay, let us, if you want to compare those, let us see some graphs. Let's see if the data is like this, right? Then your box plot will look like this and violin plot will look like this, right? In the same way, if your data distribution is like this, then your bar plot will look like this, right? And and violin plot will look like this. So see, the tail is very long. That means you are having some outliers. In the box plot, you can check there are some outliers, right? Okay. Let's see another example. If your data distribution is look like this, your box plot will lie somewhere here in between, and your violin plot look like this, right? So main difference between box plot and violin plot is, although they are same, they are representing same thing, but the main difference is you can see the histogram and see the curve of your violin plot. That means it is also representing the distribution of data, but box plot don't tell about it, right? So this is the main difference. Okay, now let us check the correlation of survived with age. So our output feature is survived, and these are the features which are having these much of correlation with our survived factor, right? You may check SIB-SP has very low correlation, Parch has low correlation. Can there is a technique where we can improve this? Yes, we can create a third variable or third feature, dummy feature, by concatenating these feature. Let us concatenate it and then check the correlation, right? So we have created a relative feature here by concatenating siblings and number of childrens, and then we just observe that relative has higher correlation than SIB-SP and Parch, number of parents or children and number of siblings. So we can use this feature in our model. So here, what I am going to do, I am simply creating our new data set of selected features. I have included sex, P class, age, relatives, fair, survived, right? And after including those, I am going to drop NA values. Let's check. Yes, I have done it. Now we have this type of data set where P class, age, relative, fair, survived are there, features are there. All are numerical values. Only sex feature is having categorical values, and it's good to change those categorical values to the numerical values. For that, we can use two methods. One is label encoder, second one is one hot encoder. So in the label encoder, what it will do, it will simply put 0 for female or put 1 for male. How many classes will be there? If you are having two classes, it will give 0 1. If you are having three classes, it will give you 0 1 2 again, right? So you can use label encoder or one hot encoder or dummy encoder. So there is some difference. You may check in the label encoder, it will simply replace female with 0 and male with 1 here only. But in the one hot encoder, it will create some dummy features using number of classes, like we have two classes, female and male, in the sex column. So it is going to create two further columns, which is where it will put 1 for female and 0 for male. And in case of sex at male, it will put 1 for male and rest will be 0. So it's good to have one code encoding because it is very easier to understand or easier to infer rules from it for any algorithm. So let us use one code encoding, right? So we have get dummies function in the Panda library where we are simply creating dummies, right? By giving the feature name and prefix name, right? After doing so, you may find that D will contain sex female and sex male. Now, because I have stored it in D, so I have to concatenate it with our data. So I am going to use concatenate function and pass data and what you have to concatenate, which is D. I have encoded data in D, right? At axis 1. Axis 1 means column. कॉलम में हमें इसको ऐड करना है. ओके, एंड जो हमारा प्रीवियसली सेक्स कॉलम पड़ा हुआ है उसको ड्रॉप करना है, क्योंकि जब मेरे पास इफ आई गॉट सेक्स फीमेल डिफरेंट एंड सेक्स फीमेल मेल as different column, then why I need sex column now? So that's why I have deleted it. So if I run it now, you may check it has converted all the categorical values into numerical values. Okay, now next step is just select your output feature and input feature. So in the X, I am just going to create a data frame of all input features, which were sex male, P class, age, relative, fair, right? And Y will be in the Y, I am going to pass our target feature, which we have to classify or predict, right? So X contain input features and Y contain output features. Okay. Now, after that, when I have done it, I will simply split our data into the two parts. right? One for testing purpose and another for training purpose, right? So for that, in the sklearn library, I have a function, very good function, train test split, right? So the method of using this is, syntax of using this is this one, where x train comma x test comma y train comma y test equals to, इन चार वेरिएबल्स में हम लोग ट्रेन टेस्ट स्प्लिट को पास करने वाले हैं, राइट? तो ट्रेन टेस्ट स्प्लिट में हम पास करेंगे आर्गुमेंट, हमारा इनपुट वेरिएबल विच वाज x and output variable which was y, capital Y, and test size, what test size says, it is showing the size of your test data. So 0.2 means 20% of your data set will be reserved for testing purpose, and at 80% of data will be used for training, right? Random state means this is the value which defines the sampling pattern of data selection, right? Right, after your data set, which all are the data set, which all are the features will be selected randomly, right? So remember one thing, always use same random state everywhere in the program, otherwise there may be the problem in the learning, right? So if you have chosen random state 42, then use random state equals to 42 everywhere where you are having this feature where you have to select samples, right? Okay, let's run it. Okay, now it will run. Okay, it's run. Now these are our test set of input features. Okay, now we have data. Every data is in numerical form, so we need to scale it, because machine learning model will give best results in case if it is having data of same range. So we need to convert these ranges, which are different for different feature here. We need to change those to the unique feature. Let's say we have to change them to 0 to 1. That is called label scaling, right? Normal scaling. But we are going to use standard scaler, which use means and variance of the data to scale the data, right? Feature wise scaling of the data, right? It is written over there, right? Okay, but remember one thing, you need to use fit transform method only on train set, not test set, because you want that your models should not be biased, right? So only fit only on train set, not transform set, because at the time of fit means it is calculating mean and variance, and if you are going to again calculate mean and variance of test set, that those will be different, so learning may affect it, right? And biased. So I we want that the mean of train set and test set will be used to transform the data of test set, right? Okay, so let's see here. I have imported standard scaler from sklearn.preprocessing, and I have stored it into SC, and I have just set xtrain equals to sc.fit transform on xtrain. ट्रेनिंग में मैंने ट्रेनिंग एक्स इनपुट के ट्रेनिंग सेट में मैंने इसको ट्रांसफॉर्म सेट फिट एंड ट्रांसफॉर्म कर दिया और उसको सेव कर दिया एक्स ट्रेन में, यानी कि जो स्केल्ड वैल्यू है वो एक्स ट्रेन में चली गई इनपुट डेटा की। ऐसे एक्स के जो टेस्टिंग सेट है उसमें मैंने केवल ट्रांसफॉर्म यूज किया, क्योंकि वो सेम मीन जो उसने ट्रेन का यूज किया था उसी को यूज करेगा ट्रांसफॉर्म करने के लिए, तो वो एक्स टेस्ट में मैंने पास कर दिया। ठीक है, तो ठीक है, ये नाउ अब आपका डेटा एक सही फॉर्मेट में आ चुका है। नाउ इट इज इन appropriate format used by any algorithm, right? Now we can start. First we are going to train our model using logistic regression, right? So from sklearn.linear model, I'm going to import logistic regression, right? I have stored it into the model because logistic regression is a model. You can see there are some arguments like penalty, C, threshold value, solver, random state. See, I am again using 42. These are some argument which this model use, right? These are the regulators or regulation parameters, right? So you may check it on this place, realpython.com, for detailed value, right? But for understanding purpose, I am using the basic arguments, right? After that, I have used model.fit, which means this model.fit means logistic regression.fit. I am fitting our model on X train and Y train. Obviously, this is our training data. These are input data. X train is the input data, and Y train is output data of that particular input data. So of train set only. So for train set, I have just fit the model, right? That means I am training our model on these data. So let's train it. Okay, it's trained. Now I want to check how it performs, right? तो अब परफॉर्मेंस चेक करनी है तो ऑब्वियसली बात है कि मेरे को इसको प्रिडिक्ट करवाना होगा टेस्ट वैल्यूज पे। तो अब आप देखो यहाँ पर मैंने मॉडल डॉट प्रिडिक्ट करे किस पे, एक्स टेस्ट पे, राइट? वी नीड टू प्रिडिक्ट द एक्स टेस्ट वैल्यू। जो भी टेस्टिंग में मेरे पास इनपुट वेरिएबल्स है उनको मैंने इनपुट में दिया मॉडल के, और वो मुझे उसके अगेंस्ट वाई वैल्यूज देंगी, और उन वाई वैल्यूज को मैं कंपेयर करूंगा किससे, जो ओरिजिनल मेरे पास वाई वैल्यूज है उनके बेस पे ही मैं चेक कर सकता हूँ कि एक्यूरेसी कितनी है, कितना सही बोला उसने, कितना गलत। तो लेट्स डू इट। नाउ यू कैन चेक accuracy of this model is 78.36%. That means this model has given the accuracy of 78.36. Now let's check for another model. We have decision tree, which is a tree based classifier. So I am just importing decision tree classifier. It is also having some arguments, input arguments. For detail, you can check scikit-learn tutorial, right? So till from at this point, I am just using this, right? Criteria will be Guinea and splitter will be the best. And at the max depth, I have put none, right? That means it will go to the least leaf of the tree, right? And I have just fit the model on X10 and Y10 as we did in logistic regression. Okay. Now let us check what is the accuracy of decision tree. Yes, accuracy of decision tree is 73.07, which is less than logistic regression, right? Okay. Now check another classifier, which is naive Bayes, which uses conditional probability, right, to find the class of any input variable. Okay. So for that, I have to import Gaussian NB from sklearn.naive Bayes and train it. Okay, it's train on X train and Y train, and accuracy of this is same as logistic regression. Okay, next one we have support vector machine. So it is very good classifier, mostly used classifier in the world. Now just import support vector classifier, SVC for support vector classifier. So import SVC from sklearn.svm and store it into the model and train your model on X train and Y train. It is also having some arguments, kernel, or we may say filter. Poly means polynomial. It has multiple kernels, linear, RBF, polynomial. Mostly RBF is used, right? Regularization parameter is C, which default value is 1. I am using default value. Degree of polynomiality, right? Gamma scale kernel coefficient, it is a coefficient. kernel coefficient, right? And random state, I am using 42 same. And by storing this model to the model, I just simply fitted it to the X train and Y train. चलो हो गया. नेक्स्ट इसका एक्यूरेसी देखते हैं. इसका भी एक्यूरेसी 78.36 आ रहा है, राइट. मीन्स आउट ऑफ 100 78% टाइम ये करेक्ट क्लासीफाई कर रहा है, राइट. नेक्स्ट वन वी हैव रैंडम फॉरेस्ट. It is also a tree based classifier which creates multiple decision trees, and after voting of all decision trees, it will select the best decision tree for prediction purpose, right? So import random forest classifier from sklearn.ensemble. It is a type of ensemble method, right? So just pass it to the model, and estimators means number of trees you want to build. Estimator represent number of trees you want to build before taking the maximum voting of average of prediction, right? So I have put 100. It could be any value, any integer value, right? And if you give greater values, that means greater number of tree will be built. That means it will slow down your processing, right? Okay, it will take time. So better to put it to keep it under 100, right? Then next, just fit it to the X train and Y train. Let's train it. Okay, it's trained. Now check the accuracy. It is giving 78.88, right? That means all the decision tree which were giving the output is 77 is the maximum accuracy. See, at the time of decision tree, single decision tree is giving 73.7. But here random forest is giving 77.88. That means one of the tree has given this much of accuracy, highest accuracy, right? Okay. Now k nearest neighbor, which is a clustering technique or classifying techniques, right? Okay. Let's import it from sklearn.neighbor and pass it to the model, and it has also some arguments, parameters, and neighbors define is a tuning parameter, or we can say it is representing number of neighbors you want to create in one cluster, right? And matrix will show that which type, how you are going to calculate the distance between 2 points. So there may be many options you can have. Default one is Minkowski, right? Otherwise you can use Euclidean. For that, identifier is Euclidean. Manhattan distance, for that Manhattan, right? And all right, Hamming distance, for Hamming distance there is Hamming. You have to write Hamming, and these are the formulas. Let's run it. Okay, it has trained. It has given it 78.84 accuracy. Till this point, it has given highest accuracy, right? After applying these many algorithms or models or classifiers, we can find that k nearest neighbor is giving maximum accuracy 78.84 in our data set. Now let us go to the neural network. So we have to create a neural network. Okay, so we have to use Keras. So from Keras.model, we are going to import sequential model, and for layers we are going to use dense layer, and model equals to sequential, right? That it will be the sequential model. So first, this line is representing one layer of your neural network. This is the second line is representing second layer of your ANN, and this is the third layer of your ANN. That means your model is having 3 layers only, right? So at this point, you are just creating your neural network, right? So let's do it. Okay, it's done. Okay, model has been created, right? Let's check model summary. We have summary keyword. So you may check layer 1 is having output shape of 12 and 84 parameters are there. Layer 2, 12, 12 signifies the number of neurons this layer has, right? And in the same way, output layer, last layer is having one neuron only. That means one class only, right? And input dim represents number of classes, right? Okay. Number of features you are going to input in the model. Okay. Now check the shapes. Xtrain dot shape, this shape is there. White train dot shape, this shape is there. Okay. Now compile this model. We have compile function for that, where optimizer is the optimizer we are using, Adam optimizer we are using, because we are having binary classification. So loss function I have set binary cross entropy, right? And matrix I am going to use accuracy only. Okay. And after that I am just training it or fitting it to the X train and Y train at the size of batch size of 32, right? 32 के आपके साइजेस होंगे, जो भी इंस्टेंसेस पिक करेगा 32 के साइजेस में पिक करेगा. और नंबर ऑफ इपॉक्स वी हैव पास्ड 50, दैट मैक्सिमम 50 इपॉक्स पे हमें चेक करना है कि एक्यूरेसी कितना है, राइट? तो लेट्स डू इट. ओके, सो for every epoch it is giving loss and accuracy. You may check first epoch, it is giving 60, 66, 78, 76 like that, right? Many epochs are there, right? And the final maximum accuracy has been given as 81.03. Now let's check the accuracy of this, right? So it has also given 78.36 accuracy, right? So out of these, it has given 78.36. So after applying these many classifiers, you found that K nearest neighbor has given you highest accuracy, right? Testing accuracy, it is testing accuracy. We are not talking about training, about maybe training accuracy was 90%, 92%, 93%, but at the time of testing it is giving maximum. So this is how we evaluate our models. We just apply different models to our data set. Which model gives best accuracy, we will select that model to use in the real time. So I think after this session, you all are able to develop minimum of one algorithm, or minimum you can apply, you are able to apply minimum of one model or multiple model on given data set. So I think it is pretty much clear to you guys, right? So अब आपको थोड़ा बहुत आइडिया लग गया होगा कि कैसे हम लोग डेवलपमेंट करते हैं, राइट? तो ये तो आपको, क्योंकि आपके पास बेसिकली ऑल द state of the art machine learning models are available in scikit-learn, you can use them directly, or you, if you want to get deep inside it, you need to develop those from scratch only, right? It's better as a beginner, it's better first implement those as it is. After, when you when you get basics of them, just try to implement them from scratch, right guys? So I think it is all clear to you how to load your data, how to handle missing values, how to pre-process your data. After that, how to scale your data. After scaling, how to use those data at the time of training, how to apply models on data, right? So, and after checking the values, you may select best model for use, right? So I think it is clear to you guys. Thank you very much, guys.